and 3 notices of violation were issued. We had 1 zoning violation for an unpermitted sign. Administrative nuisances, we had 6 lack of property maintenance, 9 new foreclosure registrations, 2 short-term rentals were found and notices were issued. With regard to the residential rental registrations, there were 334 renewals and 19 pending renewals, 30 new unregistered property rentals found, vacations completed, and for our business license program, we had 4 businesses operating without a business license, 2 new commercial business registrations, 5 new home occupations, 21 new out-of-city, and 5 renewals. That concludes.
Mr. Mayor has a few questions. Sure. Madam Clerk, as you've been busy out patrolling the BLM land.
That's what I do on my days off, yes.
The reason why, obviously, Ruby's not here, but Aaron, I guess this question for you. You know, we have like. At least with code enforcement, on the idea of looking at getting some of them certified for drones and looking at that as an option?
I don't know that we've had that conversation. You're getting into an area that I do for fun, so I don't know that I could be more in support of anything than that. But coming from other cities where the police department also had drones, I got just as excited then, and so I know there are grants available for some of that as well, so we will certainly have that discussion.
I love it. And then the only other question I have is, and you probably don't know this is Ruby's category, if communication with the POA has increased, decreased, or sustained in regards to our residential rental program, because you know, I still believe that we are probably at 353 with the outstanding coming close to 90. We're probably still 300 to 400 potential homes that are not part of the program. And you know, it is what it is, of course, but it's a great program for landlords and for owners because it secures that their property is safe, and it helps out with insurances, and it's a big deal. So I'm always going to say it every time I see the number. You know, we got to find a way to work with the POA to get more people involved in that program.
I don't have the answer for that, but I could get back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay, Kansas City of Caney Lake Fire Department, Chief Latendresse.
Thank you, Code Enforcement Clerk.
I was looking up for her, and you were quick.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, City Staff, Jeff Latendresse, your Fire Chief, and I'm here to present our monthly report for June. So during the month of June, the Fire Department responded to 92 emergency incidents. Of those emergency incidents, we had 3 fire calls, 62 medical emergencies, we had 12 service calls, 10 good intent, we had 4 false alarms, and 1 call type that was not reported. Our fire responses for the month of June, on June 9th, we had a brush fire in the 20,500 block of Telford in the Meadowbrook area. There was an immediate threat to structures. Our engine was one of the first to arrive on scene, and they set up to protect exposures on what we call Division Alpha. On June 17th, there was an outside fire of Shooter Drive and Sloop. It was an electrical transformer fire, and the power was actually lost to about 12 homes during this disturbance. Edison was on scene when we got there, so they were aware of the issue and were trying to resolve it, and that's when the transformer exploded. And then on June 29th, we had a structure fire in the 29,800 block of Vacation Drive. It's actually an air conditioning unit that was reported by neighbors. The air conditioning unit was fully involved. It was about 105 degrees that day. The occupants were not home. Luckily, the neighbors were able to extinguish the fire prior to our arrival. Our incidents by time of day, this is a little bit different for us this month. We had a busy morning during the month of June, where about 9 o'clock in the morning, we ran 9 responses during the month. And typically, we see the morning hours as the less busiest time, and this month it was actually our busiest time of the month. Again, we use this information, we try to plan our activities that will delay our response in the morning time. It's also cooler then when we're doing our manipulative host training, and so we try to get out in the community and do our training then. Where those incident occurs, well, we went another month and had another response at the fire station. We had the majority of our responses, 68, were in single-family dwellings, and then a spattering of throughout other types of occupancies in the community. Where our responses were for the month, again, they were pretty much located all over the lake. We didn't really have any on the Jump Lagoon side off of Longmore. Everything was on the other side and off of the East Bay. Our response time, our average response times for the month of June was 53 seconds, so 1 second slower than last month. Our travel time, something we can't control, was 5 minutes 37 seconds, a little bit increase from last month. And our overall response time was 6 minutes and 23 seconds. Again, what's more important to us is not just 50% of the time what we're doing, but 90% of the time what are we doing. And so our turnout time is 1 minute 28 seconds for our turnout time, 7 minutes 43 seconds for our travel time, and 8 minutes and 42 seconds for our total response time. So a little bit increase over last month. We are still meeting our goal for our turnout time, but the two that we can't control, our travel and our response, our overall response time, are slightly outside of our route training. Automatic and mutual aid given during the month of June. Canyon Lake responded to 10 incidents outside the city. 8 were in Lake Elsinore and 1 was in Menifee. This year, so far, we've responded to 61 incidents outside the city. 54 were in the Lake Elsinore zip code area. 5 were in Menifee and 2 were in Good Hope. If you look at the map, though, you can see that not all of them are in Lake Elsinore. There's really only 1 in Lake Elsinore proper. There are 6 in the Meadowbrook area and 1 in Good Hope, and then 3 in Menifee. This is a detailed map of showing all the 61 responses where we've gone to so far this year outside of the city. Conversely, Riverside County CAL FIRE has responded into the city of Canyon Lake 3 times during the month of June. So far this year, they've responded 49 times to assist us with our incidents. This is a heat map showing where those incidents occurred. And again, you can see they're very random anywhere throughout the city. When our primary unit is committed, we have to rely on CAL FIRE to come in.
Mayor, if I could you clarify, Chief, your presentation said 9 and you said 3 on the responses?
I'm sorry, let me go back. They responded in 9 times.
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Our training hours for the month of June, this month we did 228.5 hours. So far this year we have over 1,400 hours of training. Our training this month focused on our paramedic updates from our county healthcare agency, or REMSA. We did engine company operations at the Corona Training Tower. So to accomplish that, we have to hold over a crew, and then the on-duty crew will head down to Corona and do manipulative host testing. We do that once a year. We also do live fire training once a year. We did simulated training on single-family dwellings. We did our annual wildland training, area familiarization on the BLM lands, and then we worked with our reserve firefighters on ladder evolutions. Community education, community outreach. Well, we were a big participant with the Firefighters Association at their annual golf show here at the town center. We've been to almost every Taco Tuesday thus far. We're at the movie nights in the park and at the pool. We participated with a very lucky city employee that had a baby very recently, and then our normal day-to-day interaction with the community as we're out there doing our inspections and responding to calls. We also did some renovations at the fire station. If you look at the photo on the far left, that's what it used to look like. We had old beat-up wood lockers, some drywall damage, some rot in there, And so we were able to tear out the lockers, repair all the drywall, put in new ergonomic lockers that are breathable, they're air and ventilated, so when they come back sweaty and they put their clothes in their locker, they're able to dry and not get all sticky inside. We got some new tool cabinets and everything like that. Painted it to our theme with the red and black, and so it really looks amazing in there. It made a really great transformation of what the station looked like, and this was done using ARPA funds, so it was really no real cost to the city. It was a funding that we received from the federal government. Speaking of funding, I'm proud to announce, and it will be on your agenda on consent tonight, the fire department has received 2 grants. Our first one was from the Office of Traffic Safety. We received over $33,000 for additional extrication equipment. We're going to be able to get a battery-operated combi tool which spreads and cuts if we have a trap car door. We're getting 4 airbags that we can lift heavy objects or a vehicle if someone is trapped under a vehicle. And then we're getting 2 struts so that we can stabilize the vehicle on the side. So we're really excited about that. The funding should take effect in October. So we've already talked to the vendor. The items are in stock, so hopefully we'll be able to put those in service very quickly. Our second grant is from Cal Recycle, their household hazardous waste program, and we're going to be setting up a battery recycling center. I'm sure many people remember a couple years ago, you were able as a citizen or a resident to come into City Hall, drop off your batteries, and they were disposed of through our trash hauler. That program went away. We were disappointed in that. So we've been working on this. This is a high priority for me. We don't want the batteries going into the landfills. We want to keep those contaminants out of the water. So we'll be able to accept alkali, single-use and rechargeable batteries, drill batteries, NiCad batteries. We do not accept car or golf cart batteries or any damaged or exposed batteries. So we should have that hopefully in operation here in the month of August. So we've got the equipment already ordered. We're working with the grant company up in Sacramento. We've got a vendor on to dispose of the batteries. If you look at the staff report, one thing we talked about was setting it under our canopy on the front porch at the fire station. After watching the events in Barstow, outside of Barstow on the interstate this month, we might relocate it on the exterior of the building over by the dumpster so that should something happen with those batteries, it won't threaten the structure. And so that's my presentation for the month. I'm available for any questions. That was our going away party for Chief Samuels. We had all of our firefighters there, and so we miss him. We wish he was here, but we wish him well. So I'm available for questions.
Any questions? Great job, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it.
Good job. Yeah. Okay, moving on to public comments.
Actually, Chief, I'm sorry. Mayor, may I?
Yes, you may.
Congratulations on the grants.
Thank
I
you.
know we've had several discussions on your efforts on obtaining grants and getting those grants is good for the fire department, it's great for the city. You guys are also making efforts internally in regards to your proficiency at writing grants, is that not true?
We are. We're actually sending our executive assistant analyst to a grant writing course in the month of August. It's an 8-hour class in Rancho Cucamonga, and we hope with that additional training that we'll be more proficient and be more successful in our grant writing opportunities.
I know we've had discussions in the past, and that's great to hear, and good job.
It's an investment that we want to keep moving forward with.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Okay, public comments. City Clerk, are there any public comments on non-agenda items?
Mayor, we have 4 speakers tonight. I believe they are all speaking on item 8.
Item 8, is that on the consent or?
It is on the consent calendar.
Okay. Let's go ahead and why don't we have those comments on the non-consent items, on the consent calendar items?
Perfect. Corey Willis?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Corey Willis, and first I'd like to thank the Mayor and the City Council for continued support of the public safety for the City of Canyon Lake. I'm speaking to you this evening as a homeowner and a member of the Canyon Lake Firefighters Association. Both my girlfriend and I love living in Canyon Lake, and we're proud and honored to be a small part in keeping the city safe. As everyone here is aware, the city's #1 responsibility is to provide critical public safety services for its residents. And I know in order to provide these services, the city council spends a significant portion of the budget to ensure the city meets this obligation. I'm also aware that each year it gets harder and harder to meet these financial targets. In a city with few opportunities for development and/or business growth, the city will continue to struggle to cover the costs of maintaining current level of public safety services, let alone improving upon these critical services. As a resident, I'm supporting the Canyon Lake Public Safety Ordinance so that we can all rest easy knowing that the city will finally have a dedicated source of revenue to help provide for police and fire protection. Speaking on behalf of my fellow firefighters, I hope that others will also support this measure to ensure our safety, but by having the funds necessary to continue to maintain equipment and supplies per industry standards in the future. If you have any questions, don't ask me. Rich Moline or Roland Bush, they're the two guys that are ahead of this project, so they're the ones that have all the answers you guys need. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? I think he recommended we move on with questions to the other two. So next person would like to talk.
Andrew Quinn.
Andrew Quinn.
Mayor, council, thank you. I'm Andrew Quinn. I want to thank you for giving us the ability to vote on the public safety ordinance. This measure that will be brought before the voters in November seems like a sustainable solution to the problem of ever-increasing costs of providing public safety services. I appreciate the revenues generated by this measure are restricted to be spent only on public safety, which, as you know, is the city government's #1 responsibility to the residents of Canyon Lake. When passing the most recent budget, I know the city had to make tough decisions and make several cuts to approve a balanced budget. But the city should not have to be put in a situation where it has to delay the approval of Stillwater training for our Canyon Lake Fire Department personnel. It is my hope that we pass this measure on election day to ensure that our city is capable of strengthening public safety services and not the other way around. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I believe any questions we'd have would come under the agenda item, not so much with the representative. Next person up there.
Bradley Frazier.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Bradley Fraser. I'm here to voice my support for the public safety funding ordinance and to thank you for placing it on the ballot. It's been made clear over the years that Canyon Lake is in desperate need for additional revenue sources to keep up with the growing costs of vital services that keep our community safe and maintain our quality of life. I have faith that residents of Canyon Lake will rally around and support this common sense solution to not only ensure future funding for public safety, but secure our city's financial health well into the future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Final statement. We have one more.
Rich Moline.
Well, good evening once again, Mayor and Council. Again, Rich Moline, 34-year resident, and I believe you've heard that a couple times before. The truth is that our city has no ability to predict or control the growing costs of providing police and fire services. I sympathize with the city's struggles to keep up with inflation and subsequent rising labor costs, as everyone is currently facing in businesses throughout California. I know that being a police officer is a tough and often thankless job, and when the economy is doing well, fewer and fewer applicants come forward to fill those jobs. In turn, departments have to offer bigger salaries and incentives to attract the most capable candidates possible. I'm sure the Riverside Sheriff's Office is no exception, as well as our local fire department will be facing the same challenges. I think the public safety ordinance is an excellent opportunity for the city to generate additional revenue to help pay for our public safety costs. I also believe that if we are to have real retail cannabis, then those taxes collected from those transactions should definitely go toward funding our public safety services. This measure will ensure that future city councils will have to do just exactly that. I'd also like to take this opportunity to state that if the measure passes, which I'm confident that it will, that the city council will take the opportunity and pays for additional deputy, improving the response time in Canyon Lake. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we're moving to the consent agenda items. Would any of the council members like to pull a consent agenda item?
I'll make the motion. We move
Okay.
forward unless someone wants to pull something.
No one's pulling. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second. You have 2 seconds.
We have a first and a second. City clerk,
Can I just clarify who our seconder is?
Ladies.
I'll second. Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Castillo? Aye. Councilmember Dane? Aye. Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Motion passes. Mayor, would you like to do committee reports at this time?
Yes, let's do community reports. Community and council reports. Let's go ahead with that. Any of the council members want to step and do a first one?
Yeah, I'll go first. I'll be real quick. You all remember RCTC came and did a presentation on Measure A, wanting to increase that tax to additional revenue. That failed in regards to they didn't have enough. When they pulled the item regionally, there wasn't enough votes in support of that tax measure. So it was no longer brought to the board of RCTC, so we didn't have to vote on that. So that tax will not be seen on the ballot in November, at least from the county side of it. Other than that, that's it. Quick tonight. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Council member?
No, I don't have any update.
Okay, Councilmember Dane.
Just a quick update on the Southwest Higher Education Coalition. We are continuing to move forward. I will talk about this every month. We have more of a timeline of what we're trying to do, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about this before, but our goal within the coalition is to build out a floor in the Abbott Building in Temecula for a Cal State San Marcos satellite location where we can have actual bachelor degrees being given within Riverside County. The fundraising goal on this throughout the county is to raise $18 million. And we are looking at a fundraiser that will probably happen within the next couple months. A breakfast fundraiser. We're engaging a lot of people within Riverside County, a lot of the larger businesses, tribal nations around to help with the funds for this. So if anybody is interested in contributing, well, I will let everybody know when the fundraiser is, but we're going to be looking for support from both businesses and educational leaders around the area, all different leaders and citizens in the area, as well as individual citizens for assistance. So be a good thing for our region.
Mayor Pro Tem.
You know, either in July or August, a lot of committees and cities shut down for a month, or at least pass on meetings. But we did have our General Assembly for WRCOG, and it was held at Pechanga, and the Rams head coach was the speaker, and I must say that he really lit up the room and really motivational. We also had a special guest in Canyon Lake, California State Treasurer Fiona May. She came down with the Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District and toured our lake, and I must admit she was quite impressive. It was was quite the pleasure to have an open discussion with her, and that's about all I got.
Okay. And I'll move on with the Fiona Ma meeting. It was pretty incredible. She was very happy to talk to us, and we did talk to her about the higher education goal of $18 million, and she said that our leaders could, leadership could talk to her and look for possible grants, look for possible loans, and she would work to see if we could find something to get that project moving ahead. We've talked about the project historically, but it's basically is to get San Marcos College to get a nursing program opened up in Temecula. We are short nurses, and as a parent, and many of us are a parent of kids coming out of high school, they tend to pick up and move to the cities where the big colleges are, and a lot of times they never come back. It's very difficult for a Canyon Laker to drive to a four-year college and get educated and drive back home. So the goal is to, again, see if we can get some of those college classes local, and it won't happen. We're not going to throw a magic wand out there and have, Cal State Temecula in any time soon. But there is, and this seems to be the way most of these programs go, is that they start moving those class works out away from the primary campus, or they start moving the programs out, and this nursing program is one of the most important ones, so that's where we're heading. We had a discussion about wanting a drone. I went to this great drone presentation. It was for the Northwest Vector Control. It was down in Lake Elsinore, and it was beyond amazing. I could have actually operated the drone because they have it programmed so well. They take an iPad and they basically outline the area the drone's going to fly in. They also outline the treatment for the land that they're going to put on the area, and they load up the drone and they press go. The drone goes out, flies over, and does as much treatment as they have, tells itself to come back, it lands itself. I would get to actually dump some more stuff in the bucket and then hit go again, and it would go to where it had stopped, and it would fly the next section. And if that was my job would be putting stuff in a bucket and pressing the go button. And it was so amazing. I kept thinking, what other things could they, have on this thing to make it great? But if we got a drone, we could literally map out BLM and hit a button and say, go camera it.
Mary, you're letting out secrets. It's like making Rice Krispie treats where you throw the flour and you don't tell everybody how easy the new drones are. You got to make it look like it's very difficult. But now the secret's out.
And as much as I could press the button and I could load it, I think there's a whole lot of skill set setting that baby up, getting the computers all lined up. That was the real skill. And obviously they were going to let me touch a computer because, that's bad news. So I just want to say a drone with that kind of capability is not that far out of our reach. Technology's there. And I think it would be great for BLM land where you can't get to very easily on foot or on vehicle. I also attended the Canyon Lake Neighbors Mixer. I'd like to thank them for inviting us. They do a magazine, I believe, every month, and they let everybody in Canyon Lake know what's going on in the community, and that was a great opportunity to go see them. So that's all I have for today. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on. Okay, are we ready for the public hearing?
No.
Please.
Not kidding, we're good.
I
We have gummy bears, we're good.
I have gummy bears, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and announce the time. I have 7:28 and the public hearing is now open. We have a presentation by City Planner Jim Morrissey.
Evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. We're going to try the PowerPoint here. There we go. So the item on the agenda before you this evening is a variance for an encroachment into the side yard for a portion of an existing addition located on Gray Fox Drive. The variance under the zoning ordinance has really a very strict, as stated, application in which we're to look at the size, shape, topography of the site as it compares to other properties. The property itself, as shown here, is about 10,000 square feet in size. The site's developed. It's relatively flat. So the item in question are the two arrows on the left side in which portions of the room addition extend into the side yard. They are support structures for that addition. The eave portion is not a concern. The zoning ordinance permits an encroachment by eaves, cornices, and overhangs of a certain distance. In this case, this support structure is an integral part of the addition. One of the discussions we had with the applicant was, can those two, what I'll call wing walls, be moved in parallel with the existing walls? And the difficulty with that is there's foundation structure built with that. It would take a lot of redesign, significant costs. So the applicant decided to pursue a variance. So again, with regard to what extends into the side yard, it really represents an extension of the home. You've got the vertical pieces that seem like they support the overhang, but that's not the topping. It's part of the structure. So if you compare it to a patio cover, it's the same type of thing. And it's important for the council to note that the fire and building departments allow an encroachment greater than what's existing, provided there's an additional fire rating on that portion of the structure. That exists at present. Again, we're talking about an existing structure. The question came up to planning about a wall, and then there was a lot of discussion after that, and based upon that discussion, we called the applicant in, we spoke to the applicant's engineer. Planning was unaware of what was occurring. So once we were aware, we spoke to the applicant, and we were going through this process. So again, with regard to size and constraints and topography, 10,000 square foot lot, much larger than the minimum. The site is built as a home, therefore it's flat, and it won't authorize a use that is not permitted in the zone. All two of these items are findings within your zoning ordinance with respect to whether or not to grant a variance. The staff recommendation, because of the strict nature of that, is to deny the variance. However, if the council wishes to approve it, the difficulty is if we come to you just with a resolution with wording saying we recommend denial, you wish to approve, you still need findings to approve that action. So what we've included in your staff report are two resolutions. They both include facts. We're not talking out of both sides of our mouth. It just has to do with hardship with regard to staff didn't catch that action. It's an existing structure, therefore it would be a hardship for that person. And the denial resolution relates to what are the findings of the size, the topography, and the design of the property. So the recommendation to the council this evening is to deny the variance based upon the findings in the denial resolution, but as I just mentioned, if you wish to approve, there's an additional action which would require you to comply with the Environmental Quality Act, so you would find that the proposal would be exempt and you could approve that particular resolution. And before I answer questions, I wasn't sure if the city manager. Yes.
I do, thank you very much. Mayor and council, to be very clear on this, I did have conversations with our planner as he was going through this process, and I did ask him to stay true to what the zoning ordinance says and where he saw the findings. But I wanted to be clear that on the city side, we missed this. It went through the process, and as Jim said, there's some things allowed, some things not allowed. Where it got clouded, I can't give that answer, but this to me is a clear hardship that had we not missed it or had we caught it, could have been resolved at that time. Since we didn't, it's almost like we laid the tracks for the train and then decided we want to come back and pull them up. So While I appreciate where the staff recommendation is coming from, my recommendation to the council is that based on the hardship that was created by our city in missing that and going through the process, that you would allow this variance to prevent the ongoing items that would come up from this and would include in excess of $16,000 in changes. So that is the recommendation I'm asking council to consider additionally.
Okay, do we have any questions from the city council?
I got a question, if you don't mind. We look at Gray Fox Drive collectively. Do we have other variances like this on that street?
Next door property, I understand from the building department, has an encroachment due to chimney. So they encroach equal distance that this property proposes to encroach.
So-
we don't know how that was approved, what time that occurred.
So in short, yes?
That's the one, yes.
Okay. With that, I'll make the motion unless there's other questions. That we approve the variance.
We need testimonies.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we're doing public, that's right, we're doing public hearing.
Any other comments from city council? Questions? My other comment is I drove out and looked at it. It did take me a little while to focus on exactly what the item was. It was kind of small. It was not visually pronounced in any way, and I've seen many things that look just almost like that wouldn't violate the code, but that just had a couple inches of stucco that took it into this needing to have a variance. So as far as its impact, I think it's pretty minor. So that being said, do we have any, oh, go ahead.
If I may. Just to make sure that I understand what you said, so the awning part of it I'm looking at, that's okay. But the two not columns, but the sides that are underneath that are what the problem is.
Yes.
And based on this picture, they don't even come out as far as the eave, right? Is that an eave, the awning?
Yes, so you can encroach 3 feet.
Okay.
The code provides for that.
Okay.
But only that part of the structure. So for example, if that were a patio cover, I tell people, your support post needs to meet the setback. Your patio cover can extend further, but your support posts need to make the setback. So when we have pools that are proposed, 5 feet from the pool, the support structure. Again, we use the home as an example of the exterior walls. That's where the setback is. You can encroach because of the overhang. That's part of the structure. That's a normal function of it, and the code reflects that. But when the building starts to move out, that's the problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, no more questions. Do we have any testimony by proponents? Do we have any testimony by opponents? There's a request for a response by proponents, but since we didn't have an opponent, we probably don't need that. That being said, the public hearing is now closed, and it's 7:38. Is there any additional discussion by City Council? Just to note that we have 2 different resolutions ahead to choose to vote from. We have one resolution that denies the variance and one resolution that approves the variance. So if you make a motion, identify which one of those you're making a motion on.
I'd like to make a motion
To approve.
to approve.
Okay.
the variance.
Mayor, we have a motion on the floor from Councilmember Smith to approve.
Yeah, I did it wrongly, but I did do it. But you know
I can
what?
second.
I would be happy to second yours, because yours was done in the right time, so. I'm seconding your motion.
Okay, thank you.
So to clarify, the motion is to approve variance 24-01 to allow the placement of a portion of an existing addition within approximately 3 feet of the side yard property line for 22755 Gray Fox.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Roll call.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to business item 12, introduction of first reading of ordinance 248, adopting a golf cart transportation plan. We will have a presentation by City Manager Brown.
Sorry, Mayor, we went through a lot to get through that process. Even a little emotional for me. First reading of the ordinance of the word number 12, right? I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. So, as usual, when I see the word ordinance, I'm going to defer to our beloved city attorney.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager. Stephen Graham, your city attorney. I went on vacation a week and a half ago, and while I was gone, I guess you guys had a town hall on golf carts. To the chagrin of my wife, while sitting in the hotel room, I turned on YouTube to watch, which I'm sure others in the community did as well, to see the importance of this issue to our community. The city of Canyon Lake has enjoyed safe and lawful crossing of Railroad Canyon Road in golf carts and low-speed vehicles for almost 30 years. The city is not aware of a single significant injury or fatality originating from that. The city takes it very seriously. Anyone who has gone over to that crossing is familiar with the significant signage and striping that the city has there. In late 2023, the city's contract law enforcement agency, Riverside County Sheriff, conducted a DUI saturation patrol with traffic specialist deputies. They handed out literature that indicated that golf carts were permitted to cross at Railroad Canyon Road because the city has an ordinance in effect authorizing that. However, there was some discussion about unregistered low-speed vehicles. Anyone who wants to hear a fantastic discussion and see a great PowerPoint presentation about the difference between a golf cart and a low-speed vehicle, I recommend that you watch the PowerPoint for the golf cart town hall. But needless to say, if you have more than 2 seats, you're probably in a low-speed vehicle. If you have 2 seats or fewer, you're probably in a golf cart. Ultimately, under our ordinance, it didn't matter. However, we wanted to work with the Sheriff's Department on this, and frankly, we're always looking to make sure Railroad Canyon Road is the safest road it can be. This city invests more in studies and infrastructure upgrades to that road than I think any other city in Riverside County for a similar road. But that doesn't mean that it couldn't be better. So the city engaged the services of Wildan Engineering, that's our traffic engineering firm, to give recommendations on best practices when it comes to safely crossing Railroad Canyon Road in these types of vehicles. In the meantime, the Sheriff's Department had consulted with the Office of the County Council, and their opinion about the legality of golf carts changed in between December 2023 and the most recent saturation patrol, which occurred approximately in June 2024. According to literature that was put out prior to that saturation patrol, the Sheriff's Department position was golf carts were no longer authorized to cross Railroad Canyon Road. Obviously, this came as a bit of a shock. We've been going back and forth. However, we're attempting to work together to get these things resolved. I was directed to reach out to the Deputy County Counsel advising the Sheriff's Department, present the city's position on this issue, as well as our proposed updates to our ordinances and the safety measures on Railroad Canyon Road to see if we could find common ground with the city and our contract law enforcement agency and the Sheriff's Department. I'm happy to report that our proposal to adopt a golf cart transportation plan, which is fundamentally equivalent to what we have now. However, it's adopted under a different provision of state law. So while our current crossing is authorized under Vehicle Codes Section 2115 and 2115.1, the ordinance that you have before you is adopted under the Streets and Highways Code starting at Section 1950. It's an ordinance. It says that you can cross at Railroad Canyon Road and Canyon Lake Drive South. There are some additional safety measures that are implemented here, and I believe that was very important to the Riverside Sheriff's Office as well as to the city. So I'm happy we were able to find common ground there. This is a very common ordinance that many other jurisdictions in Riverside County have on the books, especially you look towards some of the desert cities and other cities that have a sort of country club lifestyle, like the city of Canyon Lake does. The county of Riverside itself has an ordinance like this on the books. And so we're basically adopting similar language. The major change to our residents would be the need to come in, have their vehicle reviewed by a city staff member, pay a relatively low fee that we will set, and obtain a sticker that says that this vehicle is authorized to cross a public road. That's mandatory under the statute. I know that that is slightly inconvenient, but it's relatively harmless. And like I said, communities all throughout Riverside County already engage in this process. And it's mostly going to be making sure that those cards have the mandatory safety features included in the ordinance that almost every cart or low-speed vehicle should already have. I'm happy to report that County Counsel's office responded, and I quote, "The adoption of a golf cart transportation plan should overcome all the problems that we've had and present a path forward. A golf cart transportation plan clearly appears to the intended purpose of establishing uses like the one in this scenario, where a whole community or a portion thereof is adapted to golf cart use," which I think certainly this community is. That last part was me, not County Council. So we had to submit this to Riverside County Transportation Commission, RCTC, under the statute as our regional transportation planning agency. I'm not sure what RCTC is going to have to add to this. It's pretty straightforward. We're not establishing some massive golf cart transportation network. We're authorizing a crossing that already exists. We also have to send it to our law enforcement agency, Riverside Sheriffs, and ask them for any input they have. They may have additional feedback on safety measures that they'd like to see implemented. So our hope is that this will be the first reading. We'll come back with a second reading and adoption at your next city council meeting. However, if there are any feedback from RSO, one of the things we can do is we can include those changes and bring it back both as a regular ordinance but also as an urgency ordinance so that it can go into effect on the same timeline that we're looking at now. My hope is that they'll accept the ordinance as is, but they have not gotten back to us with their review just yet. If I missed anything or if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them. Thank you.
Just a comment, that's better. Just a comment, great job, Public Safety Committee, great job, Council, great job, City Manager. Just want to say this is wonderful. There's been a lot of, obviously a lot of concern in the community out there, and it looks like amazing that you guys have stepped up and really been reaching for a great solution. We hope this is it. I'm pretty sure this is close to it. So I just want to thank you guys, and the Public Safety Committee wants to add anything to what you just heard, that would be great.
Thank you. Yay.
Question, who came up with the ordinance number? I mean, you come up with good things, Mr. City Attorney, like ordinance number 420, and this is the best you can do, is 248.
So ordinance numbers are assigned in sequential order. I believe you are referring to the title and chapter number assigned to our special business regulations for cannabis businesses.
Very much so.
So I did assign this to chapter 12.09 for the golf cart transportation plan. And that's simply because the existing golf cart crossing is 12.08.
Okay, so this is an update from that then?
Correct.
Do you want feedback now from council on things like striping the lane, that kind of stuff, or is that?
I think that'd be perfectly fine, but
we do have that in process at the same time. That was planned as part of the two projects we have going, the HSIP grant project we have on one side of Railroad Canyon, and then we have the widening of the turn lane on the other side. We already plan to make sure that the striping is very apparent and also get away from get into the pedestrian lane to make sure that's clear. So there will be very clear striping as part of this, as part of the other project, but driven entirely by this.
Are we, I mean, this might be too premature, but are we having conversations of looking like, you know, right now when you cross Railroad Canyon as a pedestrian, you clearly know because you get the green versus the red hand, all that good stuff. Are we looking at something like that for golf carts as an indicator? There's been so much conversation on this issue with RSO in regards to visibility, in regards to safety. Obviously, doing a stripe lane is going to be very beneficial, but we still have to deal with the green and red scenario of stop and go. Is that conversation taking place or not?
I'd have to check with the staff as to whether that specific conversation is taking place, but I do understand that this is following the traffic pattern and getting away from the idea of pedestrian pattern. So I don't know if it's going to be following the red and green or if there would be a specific light that would be added. I will tell you that when you add specific lights, especially to the existing lighting that's there, you can exponentially increase your project.
Yep.
So my understanding at this point, but we'll clarify, is that it would follow the traffic patterns.
Perfect. The other thing I did want to just discuss briefly is additional next steps. So obviously we have the engineering and traffic analysis and all the updates to safety. The other thing that we are going to be pursuing is that designation of at least that portion of Railroad Canyon Road, if not the entire section, as a safety corridor. The legislature passed a new statute that was supposed to go into effect in June, which had a process for the designation of roads as a safety corridor to ensure that we have enforceable and manageable speed limits through the city. The state has not gotten around yet to putting those forms out, which may require us to be essentially go in and have a hearing before a judge instead. So I just wanted to let the city council know that there are multiple lanes of ways that we're trying to address the safety, not just passing this ordinance. We're taking it very seriously.
And if I could comment on something to clarify as well, what has come up a lot is this idea of a 10-year study. It was misinterpreted to think that it takes 10 years to do. That is not how the traffic study works. What I had said, and maybe I misspoke, they're typically done about every 10 years. The traffic study lasts 14. But cities will often begin that process every 10 just to make sure you're well within that window. So the last traffic study that we had was well in excess of the 14 years that it goes. It is what we're looking for is that 45 mile an hour enforceable speed limit, where without that traffic study you don't have that. So as our traffic engineer said, the study may be 4 or 5 hours, but it is good for 14 years and often done every 10.
And I'm reading the ordinance as it's written. It kind of goes and sets us up for each year to look at these improvements and move ahead with them. So specifically, we haven't said we're going to do X, Y, X, and Z. We're going to go to a traffic engineer, make that road safe for our golf carts within reason.
While contemplating the two projects that are going at the same time. That was an important aspect of it, to make sure that you've got one project going, you don't want that one project doing something that counters every safety intent you had on the other project. So that was one of the first things that I did when I arrived to the city, was got the two contractors, the two heads of both of those projects in the same room to make sure that we're contemplating all three aspects of this.
So can we do a ribbon cutting on this and announce our golf cart lane?
I think we'll do a whole lot when this gets done.
Yes, considering this is a golf cart community.
Okay, any other comments or questions?
I'll make the motion.
Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay.
Sorry.
Moving on to item 13, discussion regarding support for Prop 36, the Homeless, Drug Addiction, and Theft Reduction Act. Presentation by Council Member Smith.
Cool, I'll pivot. Feel free to chime in on this one, City Attorney. As some of you probably have heard or not, this is starting to be passed around by other cities because this is actually a proposition that I think we can get behind because it deals with some of the fentanyl issues that we had. I know that our DA, Mr. Hestron, is pushing this hard. Temecula just passed it, I think it was last week, or it might have been yesterday. I believe they passed this resolution. I think.
I should know this, I love it.
I think it was literally, this came to me within 48 hours, so I think it was, they just did it and they have their meeting, I think, on Monday or Tuesday. I know that the city of Riverside is getting this next, so it's gonna probably be coming to all the cities. You wanna tell a little bit about it, Mr. City Attorney?
Yeah, so this proposition will be on your ballots in November, and it's looking primarily to address a significant number of public safety challenges that the state of California has faced since the adoption of Prop 47. Prop 47 reduced certain penalties for certain kinds of drug crimes, and also, I think pretty notoriously, increased the felony threshold for theft from $400 in value to $950 in value, and removed the multiple offender enhanced penalties. So you may have all heard of individuals repeatedly stealing items less than $950 in value, which just racks up a series of misdemeanors. With prison realignment, with the crowding of the jails, it's unlikely that anyone would serve any significant time or have any real consequences to what is typically seen as a non-violent crime. So this is going to allow for prosecution of those thefts as a felony in a couple of different circumstances that are relevant. One is when you have 2 prior offenses. So regardless of the value on the third offense, right, it can be prosecuted as a felony, and that is to stop this multiple repeat offender issue. The other issue when it comes to theft is the so-called flash mob or smash and grab, where you have maybe a whole group of individuals, which I've seen these on the news, show up to maybe high-end retail shops, and every individual is stealing something maybe worth less than $950 in value, but the cumulative value is tens of thousands of dollars. So it would allow for severe penalties for what is essentially a conspiracy among multiple individuals to engage in significant high retail theft. The other aspect of it beyond the theft is hard drugs. California law is not kept up with the fentanyl crisis. So this would allow for the consideration of fentanyl as a hard drug and enhanced penalties for drug dealers who are using or selling fentanyl while possessing a firearm, or if their trafficking of fentanyl results in the death of an individual. So kind of addressing, I think, the 2 biggest topics of our time. If you look at the legislative analysis that was included by the proponents of the measure, one of the things that they point out is that after Prop 47, homelessness in California has gone up multiples. I mean, in the last 10 years, homelessness in California has skyrocketed. But in other states, even comparatively, I would say states with liberal criminal
51%.
Yes. Comparative states with similar criminal justice systems, they have not seen those increases in homelessness. And the theory behind the proponents is that that's primarily driven by the lax enforcement caused by 47 of retail theft and these type of hard drug offenses. So it's attempting to address those issues, and I think they're looking for local support.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, any other questions from council members?
I would love to make the motion of the adoption of resolution number 2423.
Do we have any comment cards?
Mayor, we do not.
Okay.
I would like to second.
Perfect. Okay, we have a first and a second.
Roll call vote. Councilmember Castillo. Aye. Councilmember Dane.
Aye.
Councilmember Smith.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry.
Aye.
Mayor Welty.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, moving on to item 14, designation of voting delegate and alternates for the League of Cities 2024 Annual Conference and Expo Annual Business Meeting. Presentation by City Clerk Christie.
Honorable Mayor, members of the City Council, the item before you tonight is designation of a voting delegate and up to 2 alternates for the Cal Cities 2024 Annual Conference. That conference is currently scheduled for October 16th through 18th in Long Beach, with the General Assembly meeting taking place on October 18th. In order for the city to be able to vote on issues, we do need to designate a voting delegate and up to 2 alternates. We currently have 3 members of our council who are scheduled to attend. That would be Mayor Welty, Mayor Pro Tem, and Councilmember Smith. So at this time, we would request that you would make those designations.
Mayor, I'll ask that you be the delegate as long as you show up.
Thank
So
you.
I don't have to. And I'll be the alternate.
I'll be there.
Okay, perfect. You and I, bud, we're alternates.
I think we go.
As always, that's true. That's true.
So is the motion to
Make you the, so the motion is to make our mayor our voting delegate, and obviously that leaves me and Mayor Pro Tem to be the alternates.
Great, can we get a motion?
That was the motion. Do we need a second?
I'll second it. Perfect.
Do a roll call vote. Councilmember Castillo?
Aye.
Councilmember Dane?
Aye.
Councilmember Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Terry?
Aye.
Mayor Welty?
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Okay, that is the final business meeting, business item tonight. We do have city manager comments.
Mayor, I think I've made plenty of comments throughout this process. I'm commenting out.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for your continuing comments throughout the session.
Can I make one comment real quick?
Sure.
I forgot to say, good luck on back to school. All these kids are starting school in like 2 weeks.
That's right.
So summer's over. Sorry.
And to the teachers.
Yeah,
With
teachers.
a wife who's a teacher, she looks a little more stressed going back than those kids do.
The community patrol can take a deep sigh of breath of relief starting in 2 weeks.
They're the teacher's problem now, not the community patrol.
Can we also wish Councilmember Dane a happy birthday tomorrow?
Oh, nice. Happy birthday. Happy 30th.
Well, thanks.
Welcome.
Okay, comments being over, and the announcement, the big one. Mayor, I'm announcing that the next regular city council meeting will be held on September 3rd, 2024.
And Mayor, that's a Tuesday, so we're
Tuesday.
throwing everybody off. That one is a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a busy, busy day. We're going to be competing with the POA for bodies in our room, so that will be fine. Sometimes we need to do that.
I'm not competitive, Mayor, but I hope we win.
Okay, we'll go ahead with the adjournment. It is 8:02. Thank you all for coming. Thank all the people in the audience, the staff. Waylon, we thank you all for helping us out in this meeting today. Everybody go have a good evening.